Good day. Yeah, so moving on with our discussion about health. Yeah, just thought I would make the point that good health starts with what we expose our body to, what we put into our body. So whether it's the air we breathe, the water we drink, or the food we eat, these are all very important if we're going to maintain good health. So some of them we can control, some we can't. Like the air we breathe, yeah, that may be impacted by, the environment we find ourselves, the level of industrial activity and industrial pollution allowed. Yeah, but we can still have, some degree of control over the water we drink and the food we eat. So the water we drink, for instance, it's very important to know, the source of the water we drink, whether it's rainwater from the rooftop, or it's well water, or it's any of these natural water sources. A lot of times they might have microbial contamination, so it's important to boil the water thoroughly before we put the water to use. We also need to be careful about other contaminants like heavy metals. So if you're not sure, it's important to take a sample to a lab and test it to be sure that your water source is clean. These days many depend on pure water, and hopefully the regulatory authorities are actually checking the sources of these commercial water that are not very common in Nigeria. Yeah. Well, we'll go into food. Food is probably the easiest for us to control, so it's important to know exactly what sort of food should we eat. I think generally we think about the idea of a balanced diet. So a balanced diet in its simplest sense is really making sure that the food we eat contains a modest amount of the different food groups. So usually our food we have a starch base, and it's good to keep that minimal, so a little amount of starch. It's good to have a reasonable amount of proteins in the diet, and a lot of fruits and vegetables, and also a very little amount of fats and oils. So now, given the economic times we live in, sometimes it may be difficult to come to terms with this idea of a balanced diet. But really there are ways to go around it, and that is just knowing the available available food sources that could give us these nutrients. So for instance, proteins, generally we think about proteins and we think about animal proteins, but you could actually find cheap plant sources of proteins like egusi. Egusi is almost comparable to fish or meat as a source of protein. And then when it comes to fruits and veggies, we want to just eat local. Whatever is available, just grow your own veggies. Have a pot and grow, whether it's waterleaf, spinach. Yeah, these are all simple ways to keep the budget low. And as far as fruits go, again, it's also important to eat what's in season. And don't cut down the trees. So whether it's a mango tree, pawpaw is very easy to grow. And that good example, banana is easy to propagate. So these are all plants that can grow in backyard. So these are the ways in which you can help ourselves. But ultimately, you want your food to have a reasonable amount of protein, a little bit of carbohydrate, very little bit of fat and oil, a lot of vegetables, a lot of fruits. Well, I hope this helps. Thank you. My name is Dr. Elvis. I'm a specialist general practitioner. My practice straddles Australia and Nigeria. Thank you.